So guys, a big hello. Today is a very, very special day. It's the IBYE pitch day as we lead up to the big finals in Google. And I've got a couple of relieved and a couple of nervous entrepreneurs here that are ready to have a chat with me. So first up, into the hot seat to have a chat with me is the brilliant Carl, I believe. How you doing, mate? Come on in here.
How's it going? Hello.
Good stuff, good stuff. So, here we are. Say hello to the internet. Hello, internet.
How's it going, internet?
God, have you done your pitch today already?
I have, yeah, I was the third or fourth one on, so I was at 10:30. So,
10:30 this morning.
now I'm pretty chilled and happy out.
Cool. How did the pitch go?
It was grand. There was five judges and they just kind of chatted to you and questions were grand. They're not there to catch you out, you know, so it was fine. All kind of not nervous for not really any reason, you know.
I think pretty much in business it's about being yourself and
For sure.
showing your true personality. That's what people buy into.
I think so. Well, the whole IBYE thing is like just the story and like the journey of you as an entrepreneur. So like you just pitch them as if you're telling a story. I think they're just happy to hear it, you know.
Cool. So we call survive the pitch. So sure, tell us about your business. What's your business?
So nice and nerdy. I built a recommendation engine for the gaming industry. So we built a website that a person who has a gaming account puts their gaming account, it analyzes their gaming history and recommends the next best game to buy. It's kind of like a middleman or just like a service, like TripAdvisor.
Cool. TripAdvisor for gaming.
Yeah, I'd like to say that. It kind of makes people understand that they're not into the gaming industry.
Cool. And is it are we pre-startup, established? Whereabouts are you?
So I'm in the best idea category, but we are live. We launched back in September. So we've had about 100,000 users use it so far.
Look at the modesty on you. 100,000 users.
That's not that much for gaming. That's not that much.
It may not be that, but at Philcrow Park and more.
Yeah, I'm pretty delighted. There's a lot of Southeast Asian, North American users that we weren't expecting, or marketed to, but people just kind of tell their friends and tell each other. And I'm delighted, really.
So imagine I'm a friend and I'm going to tell my friends. What's the web address?
Yeah, so it's gamex.io.
Gamex.io.
You can just Google GameX. We're top of the Google SEO. So
are you?
Yeah. So
pretty cool.
just Google GameX and we're there. All you need to have is a Steam account, or for now actually just a Steam account. We're hoping for PlayStation and Xbox pretty soon.
Cool.
Just put in your name and away you go.
So gamex.io. How did the idea come about?
Yes, so the idea was actually from a final year college project. Me and a classmate were thinking of an idea to get our degree, and we just said, can't find games. And we looked online, and there was nothing that could recommend a game, so we said, okay, we built it. That's just it. So we built it, put it online, people seemed to find it, and then I was like, okay, I can actually turn this into a business. And it's just,
cool.
The rest is history, really.
And what kind of challenges did you come up against, or what lessons have you learned along the way? There's a loaded question, if ever there was a question.
Yeah, I had no office or business experience of any kind. I worked in just normal college jobs, so it was a bit of a steep learning curve, to say the least. Just trying to hire people, micromanagement, product development, like all the agile stuff. It's just a bit of a headache, but learning all about it is just brilliant. And once you get your head around the basic concept of product dev and marketing and all that stuff, it's grand.
Just touching the fearless in you. That's scary stuff to a lot of us. We're thinking, crikey, that's just too much.
Yeah, it was
scary stuff.
I just think the scariest is just accounts and taxes and all that stuff. It's like that stuff's hard. That stuff's tough. But once you get your head around it, it's fine.
So probably one of your biggest lessons then for people out there is don't be scared of stuff, dive in.
Yeah, and just a big thing if anyone's doing a startup is do not focus on every single feature under the sun. Focus on the features that make the customer happy and make you money. Because feature creep is the biggest thing ever, and that was a big barrier to us, is making tons of features, thinking that everyone loved it, and really they just want a solution, you know?
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
And then, have you had much involvement with your local enterprise office? And shout out to your local enterprise office.
Yeah, so my local enterprise office is the Wicklow local enterprise office.
Very good.
Yeah, I've gone to them a few times for just some advice on on social media stuff, marketing stuff, and just some finance stuff as well. Just some help on like the accounts and profit and loss and all that good, interesting, exciting stuff. But they really helped bridge the gap and not let me in the dark. So yeah,
so again, like if you're a local business or an entrepreneur and you haven't been in contact with your local enterprise office, don't be afraid to reach out to them.
Yeah.
They may be of great help for you.
It's completely free. I'd highly recommend it.
And then what's the plan for world domination at the moment, Captain? So you've just started September. We're up and running. 100,000 users. Where do we go from here? What's the ambition from here?
What their plan is to get. The thought process is that if you want to buy a game, the first thing you think about. So if you want to search something, you go to Google. If you want to buy a game, the first thing you do is you think of GameX. It's a bit of a vision,
sure,
to say the least, but that's kind of the plan. And then in the long run, we hope to sell games directly from our site and be just a central marketplace for everything. But that's a bit of a pipe dream, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, if you don't dream, you don't get. So,
Exactly.
So world domination. Tend to hell with your Xbox and all that malarkey. This boy's coming to town to take over the gaming industry. And what made you get involved with the IBYE competition, and how's it been for you?
It was really just, I was in it last year and I got to the county finals, but then it was really just a bit of ideas on some paper. But it was, for IBYE, it was just the kind of finding people and just finding other startups, and the whole network is just really, really big and important. So I think just with the IBYE, just getting to know everyone else, because the money is good, but it's really just connecting with other startups and learning and just kind of throwing ideas at each other. I think that's the most important thing. And that's really what I've done.
Yeah, it's nice when you hang out with like-minded people and feel like you're not alone.
It kind of pushes you as well, because you see that you have a business and you're like, you think you're doing okay, but then you look at some of the other businesses and it's kind of really encouraging, to listen to other ideas, and it makes you kind of have a bit of a boost and want to drive on.
So again, if you're a business, don't be afraid to hang out and to network with other businesses. It's something that we're often so busy doing what we're doing. We have tunnel vision. We don't have time to hang out with other businesses, and they will inspire us and keep us honest as we go. You'd
be so surprised how many people in the local enterprise office and Enterprise Ireland will actually help you out. A small, short email, and people will help you. If you're hiring or looking to hire, they will really help you out. That's their job.
Cool. I'm looking for my phone here because I want to download this good site called GameX.io. I want to check out. So I'm going to have to say goodbye to you because I need to get on the internet to check out this site.
No problem. Thanks very much.
Best of luck in the finals in Google.
Appreciate it.
Lovely speaking to you, Carl. Okay, next up on the stage, it's a random pick. You see a very glamorous looking lady's heading towards us now. She's not that excited about it, but she's coming anyway. How you doing? That's okay. If you saw the technology behind this operation, you'd just be blown away. It's just incredible. It's like an incredible fancy studio, really. So, I'm Greg. What's your name?
I'm Fiona Edwards-Murphy, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Apis Protect.
What's that?
What we do is we use sensors and electronics to help beekeepers help their honeybees reduce losses and increase productivity in their hives.
Wow.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
We've gone from gaming to bees, which is pretty cool. So what an interesting business.
Yeah.
So essentially you increase efficiency when it comes to the creation of honeys, and I think bees are pretty important creatures in this planet.
A third of the food we eat every single day is pollinated by honeybees, so they're pretty important.
So let's just pause on that. A third of the food that we consume on a daily basis is pollinated by bees. So you're like a saviour, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And I think you're wearing a bee.
Yeah, I always wear him for picture.
Cool. So how long is the business established and up and running?
No, I'm in the business idea category.
Okay.
So I've been working on this for since about last June, but I've been working in this area for 3 years now. I've been working on a PhD on Internet of Things applications for honeybee health. So that's sensors and electronics for honeybee.
Good. So it's very much Internet of Things
Exactly,
focused. Very good.
Very new technology.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic stuff. So, talking of that, have we got any customers? Where exactly are we in the development stage?
We're still pretty early. We've got an awful lot of very interested beekeepers, but we're at the stage now where we're meeting technology partners to actually get the hardware designed and built and ready to go inside the beehives. Because what I have right now are just prototypes that I built myself. Yeah, so that's where we are.
Fantastic.
And we're about to launch our feasibility deployment, which will be 200 beehives with a prototype version of the product.
That's really fascinating. And then the how does someone get into how do you even dream up of a concept like the concept that you dreamt of, the Internet of Things and bees? Where did that all come from?
Well, I've been working in the area of Internet of Things since about 2011. I worked on a variety of different projects, including like health and education and structural health monitoring using Internet of Things. And when I was about to start, when I was finishing up my undergrad, I was just looking for I wanted to do a PhD, but there wasn't any projects going on that I was really interested in. So I kind of went out there and made my own project. I found my two supervisors for my PhD, so one of them is in biology and one of them is in engineering, and we were like, this is a really interesting problem. And it was fun to do and everything, so.
Brilliant. So the problem, what exactly was the problem that you identified?
The problem is that there are a variety of diseases and pests that are pretty much at this stage, it's in the news all the time, that they're spreading faster and hitting harder than they ever have before in history. And the problem, people are constantly looking for a problem, but the problem is that it isn't a problem. There are hundreds of different problems that are kind of all coming together at the same time, and beekeepers now are losing up to 50% of their honeybees every single year over the winter. And pretty much what I wanted to do was use my electronics, the Internet of Things, to actually help the beekeepers understand what problems their hive has early enough that they can prevent those problems from basically killing their bees.
Fascinating. And then, for anyone that's out there, what is the Internet of Things?
That's a question that I get a lot.
I'm sure you do.
So the Internet of Things, essentially, how I like to describe it is that you put sensors into everyday objects. So you can think of anything like a fridge, that you could put a sensor into your fridge that can tell when you're out of milk. And then the other aspect is that it has internet connectivity. So there's a sensor in your fridge, you're out of milk, and then it sends you a text that connects to your internet and says, hey, you're out of milk, don't forget to pick up milk on the way home. So you're sitting at work, it tells you that you're out of milk. And basically the Internet of Things is just embedding sensors into everyday objects and using the information from those sensors to make your life easier, to give you more information, to understand how the world works.
Sure.
Yeah.
So better data,
Exactly.
earlier detection of things and so on. Very good. Fascinating stuff. And how did you get involved in the IBYE competition? How did that come about?
So at the moment I'm participating in the IGNITE program at UCC.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, that's really helped me because I'm an engineer, my background is in engineering, so like that, all the business skills are where I don't have as much knowledge as other people with startups, so the IGNITE program has helped me get all of those skills that I need to successfully start up. And as part of that, they suggested, oh look, there's this competition going on, I think you should enter it, you've got a good chance.
And
now here.
And you're here and still smiling. So
Yeah.
how's the competition been?
Oh, it's been great. It's been really interesting like that to meet all the other people who are doing very similar things to you, or like even on different topics, but going through the same experience that you are. And as well as that, the workshops and the boot camp and everything, it's been really great for developing like skills, pitching skills, and business plan writing and all those kind of areas.
So what's the best thing? What's the biggest skill that's come out of the process? Would you say?
For me,
Yeah.
it's definitely been like public speaking. Like even just the idea of being here in front of the camera before this competition, I would have been like, no, hiding under a chair over there, trying not to be picked. Whereas now I'm all for it.
Pushing people out of the way to get to Ryan Tuberty on the Late Late Show, start talking about bees. Fantastic stuff. And have you been working at all with your local enterprise office?
I have, yeah. They've been helping me an awful lot. Basically, kind of at the stage where I'm writing my business plan, trying to really get the business model perfected, and they've put me in contact with loads of different people who've helped me an awful lot with that. Even just like I can ring them up and I can go, guys, I'm working on the financial stuff at the moment. Do you know anyone who can help me with that? And they put me through to people. That's great. Yeah.
Fantastic. It's a big day, the pitch. Have you done the pitch yet?
Yeah, I had my pitch earlier. I was on at 11. So.
Oh,
nice and relaxed now.
Did it go okay?
Yeah, going really well.
Of course it did. You're a public speaking genius now at this stage of the game. So, simple as that. One lesson that you give to someone thinking of starting up their business that you've learned, what would that be?
I'd say it would be get out there and start working on it straight away, because I mean, like, the thing that you're really scared of deep down inside is my idea good? And the thing is, like, if it's good, the only way you're going to find out is by going out there, talk to customers, make connections with other people. And the thing is, if it's going to fail, you want it to fail now. You don't want to be thinking about it and working on it and kind of secretly working on it for 6 months and then it fails.
Yeah. Fail fast if you're going to fail. Absolutely.
Yeah. Or succeed fast.
Succeed even faster. Absolutely. Yeah. And no, and you're absolutely so right. We're so fearful. We write a fabulous book and we're afraid to talk to anyone about it in case they quash our dreams. So it's like the Nike swoosh. I think I mentioned it last year. Just do it. Stop putting stuff off and just do it. So we got the big final coming up on Sunday.
Yeah.
I have my fingers and toes crossed for you and everyone else.
Thanks.
Hope it's a fantastic day. But I will think of you every morning as I'm buttering my toast with honey.
Do.
Lovely meeting you.
Great.
Take
Nice
care.
to meet you too.
See you. So, I think we're going to go. We go male, female, male again. I think. This is a very nervous-looking character heading towards me now. You know. Hi, mate. How are you?
Good.
How's the form?
Oh, good.
Have you done our pitch yet?
I have. Finally, just calming down again now. I think the hands just settled.
Yeah. Just finish the pitch. Couple of shots of whiskey and back in to talk to me. Is it?
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah.
Very good. What's your name and what's your business?
So my name is Desmond Dolan. I'm the founder of Missed Calls. So we're a call manager aimed at business users. So we pretty much react like a personal secretary to your mobile calls. So if you rely on your mobile phone for work, you need Missed Calls. That's pretty much it.
Sounds simple enough. And the reality is I've had 3 missed calls that I was oblivious to in the last 24
there you
hours.
go. We'll have to sign you up before the end of the talk.
You'll have to, yeah, try. There's a goal for yourself.
There you go.
Sign me up. Simple as that. So is it an established business or is it?
No, same as the others you just met there. I'm still in the new idea category. So I think even in the new idea category, we're probably even a little earlier than some of the others. So actually, it wasn't even that long ago when it was just an idea on a napkin, and you talk to the likes of the IBYE and the Leo and stuff, and you can really sort of things move very quickly. But it doesn't. I think like you were saying there, at any stage, if you're going to fail fast. So even at that stage, just go for it and give it a shot. And we're lucky enough to get as far as we did.
And other than fools like me that constantly miss calls on the mobile phone, how did the idea come about?
Personally, I suppose it came around initially from I used to hate voicemail with a passion.
Yeah.
I would call up that number and listen to 7 voicemails in a row to get the one you want, and then it wasn't even worthwhile at all, and it just seems so outdated to me. If you look at how everything has changed on your mobile, if you see how instant messaging and email, everything has improved, your calls and your voicemail hasn't really changed since back with the old Nokia 3310. It hasn't really changed since, so this is where we come.
Just coming back.
I know. I'll be signed up already. So this is where we come in. Yeah. We wanted to bring that forward like the rest of them have.
So was your frustration dialing 171 or whatever it is and listening to those 20 calls, only getting to click?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then at the moment, is missed calls, is that focused specifically on telephone calls, or were you looking at, obviously we're in a world where we've got WhatsApp phone calls, lots of other types of phone calls.
So we've actually changed a few times since. So it started off there, and actually a few mini pivots in between. So like you were saying there, this concept of going and throwing yourself out there in front of the customers. You'll only find from talking to them that this isn't what they want, and you have to change again. So right now we're aiming at business users, and businesses, people who talk to and customers talk to, don't really feel comfortable enough calling their clients or customers over WhatsApp or Facebook calls. They still like the standard GSM network. So that's what we're focusing on at the minute. But as 5G comes in and Internet improves down the line, we can definitely see ourselves moving over to the IBYE and stuff.
So you can see scale within there and a fairly easy transition.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. And then, so napkin not so long ago, good idea, you're now in the wild and you're getting feedback, and heck, we've now got a business that's pretty much up and running or ready to be launched upon the world. how did you come across the IBYE competition, and tell us how that's been for you?
It's been fantastic. I suppose what happened first, I actually reached out to the local enterprise office like that. I don't come from a business background or even a tech background, so I was really thrown in the deep end with this. It was just frustration I had now to be able to find it. And they put me in touch with a few people, and eventually came to the stage like, this competition's coming up, I think you'd be great for it. And I just threw the name in, and to be honest, I'm sort of a bit humbled to get as far as I have. I really didn't expect to get this far so quick, but it's great. It's,
And which is your local
Roscommon.
Roscommon, okay,
Yes.
very good. Good stuff. Up Roscommon. I don't hear enough of Roscommon. It's like my 6-year-old gets excited every time he sees a car reg that's from Roscommon.
Oh yeah.
So we'd be delighted to meet you. So that's pretty cool. So fantastic stuff. And then when you came up with the idea, lessons along the way? Like, is there something that you do differently now that you?
No, I think to be honest, I'm going to mirror what you said today. It was just literally getting out there in front of the customers. My initial idea, it's changed 100 times since. And thinking what I thought I knew what everyone wanted, you really don't. It's only from actually going out there and talking to these customers that they're like, that's good and all, but this is what we really need. So I think you got to distance yourself from it a little bit and take the feedback on board and be willing to change based on the feedback. If you get set in your ways, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and I think that's brilliant advice. So, like, constantly iterate your idea to get
this constant iteration kind of.
Very good. So, what's the vision? So, we're pre-startup. We've already made it to the final of IBYE. Incredible achievement. Where would you like to be in a year's time?
Cool. Big question. That's a big question. I suppose at the minute we're just getting ready to launch our beta model. So if anyone's interested, you can sign up at mistcallsapp.com. MIST. We're hoping to get that launched, and then we're hoping to launch across Ireland within the year, and hopefully at the end of the year we're hoping to launch into the UK. So I think if we can get that far without any major hiccups, I think we'd be pretty happy.
Just UK and Ireland domination in the last 12 months, and then world domination beyond
Year
that.
3.
Year 3, okay, fair enough. So give us the website again for anyone who is listening.
So if you're interested at all, sign up at mistcallsapp.com. So mistcallsapp.com.
Missed calls app.
That's it.
Okay, I'm checking it out. You consider me signed up for your visa.
Fantastic.
I think it sounds like a brilliant idea and concept. Thank you so much for the time. Wishing you all the best on Sunday in Google.
Yeah.
And you survived the pitch and this talk.
I know, I was more nervous for the talk, to be honest.
Yeah,
This is the big one.
Scrap the whiskey, go straight to the tequila now, I reckon.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Okay.
But don't drive back to Roscommon after the tequila.
No, absolutely.
Cool. All right, mate.
Thanks.
Take care. See you. Okay, we went man, woman, man. So that would mean, come on down. How you doing?
How are you?
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
So, what's your name?
I'm Gillian
Gillian.
from Cerebrian Technologies in Donegal.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Donegal, one of my favourite places in the world. No disrespect to Roscommon or Wicklow.
Well, I'm only a blow-in,
yeah.
so
Oh,
I'm only
are
there
you
every
blow-in,
year.
are you?
Yeah, I'm only there every year.
That's great omen for you.
Aye.
Because wasn't it last year we had a guy from Sligo that won for the Leo in Cork?
So,
An omen. We'll have to find out about your business. Tell us a bit about your business.
yeah, so we're building software that's for the dark world of insolvency in the UK.
Sounds serious.
It does sound serious. A lot of people in a lot of financial difficulty, and our software is there to basically reduce their debt, get them in and out of insolvency quicker, and then make the firms more money while they do it.
Pretty cool. So how does that, I love the idea of this. So how does that work? Tell us a bit about them.
Yeah, so at the moment things are very still, you would think in this day and age, very electronic, but no, very paper heavy industries and lots of very skilled staff doing very boring jobs. So we're hoping to automate all of those and move the staff into roles that actually apply human value, that they can manage people's arrangements so that they can get them to completion, because actually most people fail before 2 years is out. So we're coming in, and then we're going to use a form of artificial intelligence to predict if people are going to default, so that the software picks it up and then notifies the firm to say, okay, this is a likely scenario. So that's where we are.
That sounds cool. And I have to say, even in my business, it's amazing how many companies have just fallen off the face of the earth and so on. And it's frustrating. And I suppose if you do fail, and let's be honest, businesses fail. And, really in Ireland, we nearly think it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. I mean, we possibly need to take more of a kind of US mentality to business that, every failure is the closer step to success. But the business isn't necessarily, it's not set up like that in Ireland, unfortunately. But
it's a culture thing as well, and even how we have credit relative to other people in the UK, how they manage their money and the different types of banks they use. I have a bank, where they would have multiple. So it's a complete culture difference.
And then I think as Irish people, and myself included, if something goes wrong, we just try to hide it and pretend it's not happening. My business is not dying.
Get a nice shredder for all those envelopes.
Right. So that sounds very cool. So do you have a up and running website at the moment?
Yeah, we have. So it's cerebreon.com, CEREBREON. We're in the business idea category, and so we're building the prototype at the moment, and we've just signed a contract for one of the big firms in the UK to pay us to try it, which is really nice. And it's all kind of just snowballed since the night of the Donegal final. So yeah.
It's amazing what a trip to Donegal can do. So how did you come up with the idea?
I worked in the insolvency industry for about 3 or 4 years, and I was senior analyst, software developer, operations manager, and just because I worked in so many of the different roles, you could see the inefficiencies across the board. So last year we packed up and came home and built the business.
That takes a lot of courage. So, I mean, I suppose, what would you say to someone out there? I mean, a lot of people have great ideas, or sometimes I'm sick of people saying that I thought of that, or I did this. But what was it inside you that made you, in many ways, probably that someone that's relatively risk averse to take, I wouldn't say a risk, but make such a bold decision?
I think you have to know that the reward is worth the risk, but also that it's an educated risk. You're not just flapping around in the dark. But I would rather fail and know that I tried than worry about never trying it at all. So for me, I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, that you are willing to take the risk. But if you do, definitely I would say go into your local enterprise office, because we did the Start Your Own Business course when we came back. And literally it filtered out a lot of people who had an idea and they just felt, no, I'm not going to be able to make this work. And so for us, we said, no, we really think we have something here, and we rolled with it.
Yeah, I like the fact that you talk about calculated risk. I think there's a big difference between having a brilliant idea or just having a completely bonkers idea.
That too, but you also have to be able to make your bills, and there's that level that you have to be able to generate enough cash to sustain yourself. So you do make an educated guess at it.
So how did you hear about IBYE?
Two very good friends of ours, they were in the competition last year in Donegal, and they said that it probably got them into the goal making and turned their business around very, very swiftly. And I absolutely agree. It's accelerated our business substantially. So working with the local enterprise office in Enterprise Ireland, we've gone from 0 to hero in the last 6 months, which has been amazing.
She's not shy, she's a hero, according to herself. I like it.
No, the business is. The business is getting there.
No, that's what we need. Confidence, it's very important. So what's been the best thing of the competition, the IBYE competition?
As the guys have already said, the network has been huge. You learn so much from every conversation you have. Somebody else has made a mistake, somebody else is in the same boat as you, somebody else has been through it, and you literally pick up so much as you go along. And I think from all levels, it is inspiring. Everybody you meet, like if I had money, I wouldn't be in a Start Your Idea category, it'd be well developed. But if I had money, I'd be investing in the majority of the projects that I've come across so far. So that's really, really inspiring.
Cool. And what's your ambition and vision for the next 12 to 18 months for the business? What would you like to do?
First thing would be to become an employer. That's always been a big dream. And the second thing would be to have a renowned name in the industry that we're in, that this is a really good technology, and I think if we can deliver a very good product, I'll be very happy with that. Make some money as well. Yes.
And I think you mentioned the UK. Where are you looking? Is your vision UK and Ireland? Is it global?
For the moment, no. It'll stay the UK for the next year or so, just because of cost of development. We'd be looking at the Commonwealth markets like Australia and Canada would be our next. Ireland is relatively new, and I think the legislation that's here at the moment will stop us coming to this market for about 4 or 5 years, but we would hope to come back then at that stage for it.
Sort your act out legislation in Ireland. Ridiculous. No, very, very good, and I suppose it makes sense. I think the UK is a massive market to focus on. So I wish you so much success.
Thank you very much. It's been great chatting
lovely
to you.
talking to you.
Yeah.
And whereabouts are you hanging out in the Donegal neck of the woods these days?
We are living in a tiny little place called Portnew, near Portnew. So for anyone who knows Donegal, it's between, I suppose, Killybegs and Granties would be the...
Okay, Granties.
Yeah.
I got stuck on a traffic jam for about 25 minutes years ago in Granties. Traffic jam of sheep.
Yeah, that would
But
be...
no, sorry. I get a vision of
I
your
always
area.
think Nintendo should come in and build Mario Kart and have one of their tracks as Donegal because something falls off the back of a truck or some animal breaks loose on a general day-to-day basis.
Never a dull moment. Beats the M50. Beats the
It beats
M50.
traffic
Yeah.
any day of the week.
Lovely meeting you. Best
You
of luck
too.
in the final.
Thank you very much.
Take it
Take
easy.
care of
See you.
yourself. Bye.
Okay, guys. Who's next in the hot seat? We have to be able. That's very controversial. 2 women in a row. I don't know about that now. That's breaking all the trends. How you doing? How
Good,
are
thank
you?
you. Good.
Have we done our pitch yet?
No.
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 Oh, fair play to you.
Waiting.
Fair play to you. I have to say, here's the bravest lady on the planet, I think, because I think the pitch is so stressful and nervous.
Yeah.
So you even want to come in and to do a live stream before the pitch. Fair play to you. What's your name and what's your business?
I'm Kelly Ging, and my business is Kelly Wheat Cakes.
Cakes. Cakes. Okay. Happy to talk to you. Where are the cakes that you didn't bring me?
They're in the car.
Yeah, they're in the car. Okay. I'll grab them later. So brilliant. So cake business. Tell me about your
Yeah.
business.
So we create custom cakes, celebration cakes, and sweet treats for all occasions, both the corporate and domestic market. So we do a lot of wedding cakes, birthday cakes, and like that. Promotions with companies. They want to give out cupcakes with their logos on it.
Okay. Just like me, I've looked at cakes with Twitter birds and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So how long has the business been up and running?
We're open 5 years this year.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
5 years.
Yeah. It goes quick. It goes very quick.
Half a decade. So, brilliant. So how did the business come about?
I grew up in a family business, so my parents had a hardware store, and I always thought a coffee shop or a coffee corner would be a nice addition to the store. So I opened a tiny, tiny coffee corner in the hardware shop, and I had always baked from a young age, so I started baking cakes and cookies, and all of a sudden people wanted to order them, and the business just grew from there.
Beautiful and
Never
organic.
planned. Yeah.
It's kind of very cool.
Yeah.
So and it's obviously a business that was built on genuine interest and love.
Yeah, like I always wanted to do business. I knew I always wanted my own business, and baking was always a hobby. So to be able to put the two of them together was just amazing.
And whereabouts in Ireland was the hardware store?
We're in Portlaoise in Laois.
Cool. Very exciting stuff. So you started 5 years ago, and how's the business grown? In 5
Well,
years?
our tiny coffee corner is now a cafe 3 times its size.
Okay.
We have a tea rooms, a commercial bakery, and then we converted a really old vintage caravan into a mobile catering unit. So that goes to corporate events or electric picnic, and people hire it for their weddings. So it's grown.
That's impressive. So how do you make such an incredible step forward? Like for me, that's massive. You've nearly gone from no disrespect, from nearly a hobby and a passion and an interest to building something that's become commercially very, very big and impressive. So even signing leases on premises and hiring staff, all those very scary things for a lot of businesses.
I think growing up in a family business, I've seen everything as we were growing up, and we've always been a part of that. And I think that definitely has been a huge advantage to me. And the support from my parents and my family, like they're all still there in the background helping me out as well, and that's really big.
So 5 years in 5 years' time, where are you going to be? Give us your vision in 5 years' time.
Well, I'd love to have a few more cafes,
Okay.
a few more outlets, and kind of to be the number one cake. Like you think of cakes, you'll think of Kelly Lou Cakes.
So Kelly Lou Cakes, the number one. It's just a word. It's just another word for cakes.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
exactly.
Are you very much focused on the Irish market still, or is
Yes.
there any ambition to go?
For the
further?
moment, the Irish market, definitely. I suppose at the moment we kind of supply a lot of Leinster with birthday cakes and wedding cakes, so to kind of cover the rest of the country will be the aim at the moment. And then you never know.
Very good. I know, glint in the eye
Yeah.
there. And then how did you get involved in the IBYE competition? What made you even enter it?
So I actually entered before and I never got past county level. So I decided this year, I said I'm going to go back, I'm going to do it again, give it one more try. And I really went back to do it again for that reason, the boot camp and meeting all the other competitors and the training and the help you get. It's so worth it. And to get this far, it's just been amazing.
What's the best thing of the competition to date?
I suppose like that meeting like-minded young entrepreneurs. Even at county level, we set up a WhatsApp group. Everyone is still in contact. Everyone's there supporting one another, and it's just really nice, especially to meet other businesses in your area of a similar age as well.
It's amazing today talking to so many incredible people. But one thing that every contestant seems to have is they seem to have they don't give up and never say die attitude. A lot of people that have done brilliantly in the competition this year have applied before and not progressed anything like the stage that they're at now. So that's amazing to see. If I'm an entrepreneur, say I'm setting up my range of rival cakes, right? I'm maybe making some notes here, right? What lessons have you learned on the way? What have been your greatest lessons that you've learned on your journey so far?
I suppose that you can't do everything yourself. When I started off, I think that was my main thing. I tried to do everything myself, and I never looked for help. And that's what your enterprise office is there for. You know, they're only a call away, they're only down the road, and to use them, to get in contact with them. It took me a while to do that. I was always kind of, I can do it myself. But you do need the help, and don't be afraid to ask for it.
I think that's an incredibly brilliant piece of advice, and I'm a victim of this all the time, of just wanting to deliver all the training, do all the interview, do everything myself, and learning how to delegate if you ever want to scale is a vital thing.
The help is there, so don't be afraid to ask for it.
Brilliant advice, fantastic advice. I wish you the best of
Thank you
luck with
very
your
much.
pitch. I know you're going to nail it. What time's the pitch?
I'm second last, I'm not till half six.
Okay. See, they're
Best till second
saving
last.
the best to second last.
Exactly.
Simple as that. Lovely meeting
Thank
you.
you
Take
very
care.
much. No
Chat
problem.
soon.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I tell you, such enthusiastic people. I don't know where they came from. Most years we usually had to kidnap people, and we had to lock the doors and point them with sticks just to get them to talk to us. This year, everyone's up for it.
It's your €50
Yeah. €50? Is that what you said? I said not over €40. We can't afford to pay them any more than €40. The bribes. How you doing, mate? How are you? Very well.
Very good.
How's the form?
Good, can't complain.
Good stuff. They can't complain. That's a man who's done his pitch already, I'd say.
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
No. Not until 5:10, I think, so. In the evening. Getting there anyway.
Remarkably chilled.
Cheers.
Yeah, there you go.
Looking forward to it.
There you go. So tell us about the business. What's your business?
My business is Pundit Arena. It's a sports media company that empowers fans to become paid journalists.
Never heard of it. Pundit Arena.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite people on the planet is a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like the social media god that I look up to. And Pundit Arena was the one business last year when he was in Ireland that he thought was phenomenal and was singing.
Yeah, Gary's been very good to us. So I was with him as well 2 weeks ago.
Were you?
Yeah, he's been really good support to us. The whole team of Vayner have been.
Yeah.
He's been over and back with them now in America and stuff. So they've been really good to us. Thank God.
As I said, that's my superhero. So certainly, Pundit Arena is definitely a company that I've heard of before, and it's essentially empowering sports fanatics into journalists.
Yeah, just if you want to write about sports, if you're passionate about an area in sports, then we'll enable you to earn money for your work. So it's all based off the quality of the content, and then we provide you with an audience. And if you're good enough, then you can earn money as well. So it's about breaking down the barriers into journalism for people.
Pretty cool. And let's be honest, anyone that watches a lot of sports has opinions, usually very strong opinions. And we read articles and we go, geez, that's an awful article. So you're throwing the gauntlet at people to actually create better content, more passionate content online. So how long's, when was Pundit Arena set up?
We set it up with my co-founder Ross O'Dwyer and I. We set it up back in October 2013. So we came through the IGNITE program as well.
Okay.
Same place the Bees came through.
Yeah.
And we met on that program, so we had two similar ideas and just decided to merge. So the guy who was running the IGNITE program decided to take a risk that we would merge, and thankfully we did, and we haven't looked back since.
Amazing. So how did the concept ever even come about? It's kind of a cool concept.
I am always a strange story freak from my side of things.
Yeah, cool.
No, I was actually a teacher back in the day. I was a PE teacher, an Irish teacher. Freak injury, ended up in a wheelchair for a few months. I had to teach myself, then tried to get into writing then because I couldn't do anything for a few months. Obviously wouldn't have been the best PE teacher. So I taught myself how to build a website, taught myself every day then, and then just built a website called sportiseverything.com, launched that, and that got me onto the IGNITE program. And then we merged and we founded Pundit Arena in October 2013, incorporated, and it grew from there. And it was just born out of the frustration of not being able to get a job online or get access to writing online and earn money for your work. So we just grew it from there.
Okay, I'm loving that story. Chalk it up. That's powerful stuff.
Cheers.
And I suppose it's amazing when we go through challenges in our lives. Very often we spend a lot of time feeling sorry for ourselves and nearly really kicking ourselves when we're down. And essentially, you channeled probably a hell of a lot of anger and frustration into something pretty incredible.
Yeah, I suppose getting down is part of it too. Like, you know, you have to go through that.
Yeah.
There's challenges in business all the time. We had our fair share of challenges last year as well. We ran in a conference in Dublin where a lot of eyes were on it, and the main guy pulled out. So, you know, challenges are part of business. They're formative. They mould you, and thankfully, the more challenges, the more opportunities we have to bounce back. And I think that's why we've been able to have such progress today.
Cool. I know I've been on your website before, but for anyone out there that hasn't been, the website is?
Punditarena.com.
Simple as that, punditarena.com. Fantastic. So, you watched the match over the weekend? You have a strong opinion? Check out the website and showcase that opinion and turn your rant into money with Pundit Arena.
Cash, yeah.
Into cash, even better. Sounds better. So who needs the lottery, you know? This is pretty cool stuff. What is, like, obviously you talk about how the business started, which is a really cool, interesting story, and you talk about even the conference recently where the headliner pulled out. What are the biggest lessons, or give me one lesson that you've learned along the way that would be useful to an entrepreneur?
I guess some people get into business and think they know it all, like, you know, naively. That's probably part of it too when they're a young upstart creating a startup. What I've learned is just leveraging the knowledge of the people around us. We're not always going to be right, and with our team, we have a big enough team now at the moment, and any of them can come up to Ross and I and just tell us that we're doing something wrong. I think that's the most important thing, just having no boundaries, because we're supposed to hire people that are smarter than us, so you've got to listen to them, and that's what's worked for us, thankfully.
How many people do we have working for us at the moment?
15.
15?
25 in the next 2 months.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's a lot at the end of each month anyway.
Pretty impressive.
Nervously.
And how did the great band Gary Vaynerchuk find you guys and start?
I was introduced to someone who said, or a friend of mine introduced me. He said, VaynerMedia are looking to set up an office in the UK. The guy who's running the European office is coming over. Can you meet him for a coffee? I was running an event in Dublin at the time, sports and tech event. So brought him over, and then he said, can you set up a few meetings for Gary? Set up meetings with Kerry Group, all big companies like that. Gary ended up getting business out of it, and then they've just been kind of good to us since. So we were over with Eric now in London, and the team over in Venice Beach and in New York as well. And they've just welcomed us in with open arms. Kind of just a pay-it-forward method. We helped him out, so he's been scratching our back since.
Pretty impressive. So there's a gentleman who's he will buy the New York Jets at some stage in his life. So to have
buy
that,
Pundit Arena first.
have that guy batting on your side is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, and have you worked with your local enterprise office at all through your journey?
Yeah, they've been brilliant for us. Our first ever full-time employee, our team member Rob Lyons, came through the local enterprise office. It was about 2 years ago. We received funding from them and we were able to put it straight into a body, and Rob thankfully is with us today. The local enterprise office actually was part of the competition 2 years ago and won the South Cork one, but didn't progress further than that. They actually asked me to enter this year, which was great because I was unaware that you could enter again. We owe a lot to them in terms of grants, funding, aid, mentorship, everything. The Leo and South Cork have been brilliant.
We'll have to say, like, Pundit Arena is a shining example of a brilliant startup that's doing amazing things. So I wish you the best. No worries, but I wish you the best of luck with your pitch. I know it's going to be fantastic. But it's great to meet you. It's great to meet any mate of Gary Vaynerchuk's a mate of mine. So lovely meeting
Nice
you.
to meet you. Thanks very
Chat
much.
soon. Take care. See you, mate.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. I think we've run out of women. Completely run out of women. Do we have anyone else left? That's all we do. Here's I see pretty slick, smart-looking gentleman here. I knew I should have worn a tie.
Suited up.
Yeah. How you doing, mate? How are you?
I know you might be invited to a wedding at short notice, so
There you go.
get me ready.
I do. I have a tie in the car.
Hi, folks.
How you doing? What's your name, mate?
Mark.
Mark. And I'm Greg.
Great, very nice to meet you. Cheers, Greg.
Great. Mark, tell us about your business. What is it?
So my business is called Allsound. It's a platform for podcasters and radio stations or creators of audiobooks. Maybe you have a written book and you'd like to make an audio version. And we help people earn a lot more money. Basically, we take content from a radio station, podcast, or publisher and make it available to listeners. So far, there's something like 7.9 million different listeners that we've tracked on our platform of downloaded content. And most of them don't even know we exist because we work with existing apps. So if you're out there and you've ever just subscribed to a podcast, there's a good chance you've actually used our platform in the back end without realizing it.
Okay.
So we basically help podcasters and radio stations understand exactly who's listening. So that analytics means that they can charge a lot more money for their advertising. It also means that they can understand what efforts are working. If they want to grow their audience and they just see a number of downloads, it's not very helpful. But if you can understand that Facebook campaign turned into these listeners who subscribed, that Twitter campaign turned into more listeners, but then they didn't last, that sort of an insight it can help a lot. And say, if you want to make money via advertising, then for us to be able to say, these listeners are commuters, or these listeners also listen to such and such other shows, or these listeners click on such and such links, it just means they can make the ads a lot more relevant.
Absolutely brilliant to have that data, and essentially people have been batting around in the dark for ages.
That's kind of the differentiator for us.
No, it's a pretty big one. And I have to say, I mean, probably 3 years ago, we used to talk about podcasts. People used to go, "What the hell is that?" And the reality is, in a room now of 50 to 100 people, half the people are listening to podcasts.
It divides the crowd because, if I ask my friends or I ask 50 or 100 people, a bunch of them put up their hand and say, absolutely, I'm subscribed to a whole bunch and show me a list. And then a lot of the other half are still in the dark saying, I still don't really know what those people mean when they say, listen to a podcast or subscribe.
So you're in a business that's in a fantastic growth mode.
It's an interesting, it's a good time to be involved. It's I won't say it's completely the Wild West, but it is at a bit of a tipping point in terms of from niche to kind of mass adoption.
So your business is your business fully established now? Obviously, it's
right. So you've chatted 3 different categories of entrepreneurs. You've the Pundit Arena established. Everyone recognises the name. You have the idea people. I'm in the middle category, so it's established, but it's early days for Allsound. So there's people using it from all over the world. There's people publishing content in Spanish, Arabic, and French, and Portuguese, and obviously a lot of our users are based in the USA or the UK.
Yeah.
Not too many in Ireland yet. Just
it's
more people.
Exactly.
But fairly new, but up and running.
Cool. And then how did the idea come around? Because I think it's a brilliant idea, and obviously it's an emerging the appetite and the consumption of I suppose audio, on-demand audio is massive. It's been massive in the US for quite some time. It's getting big here as well. But ultimately, data was the one thing that was missing, that people didn't actually track who was listening to what. So how did the idea come about?
Well, it came gradually. I would say in my previous job I was working fairly long hours and travelling a lot. So I just became quite an avid listener of podcasts. I subscribed to a lot and I thought this is great. And I noticed a few peculiarities from the listening side. You know, I'd hear advertisements in Ireland for products that are not available outside of the USA, for example. It's crazy, you know. Listening on a mobile phone that should know so much about me. You know, if you're online, the ads are so targeted. You might get an ad for Roscommon Flag or something like that. I would get an ad for something targeted to me, you know. And typically the ads are more targeted in display and video ads. And so once I decided to build something in the audio space, initially I was focused on maybe the social and discovery listener side. And then through talking to customers, like I think every person who's sat in the seat before me, through talking to customers you get feedback that says, oh, I like what you've done a little bit, but if you did this, that would be amazing. Yeah. And so the business has evolved quite a lot since it was initially kind of set up day one. In particular, this morning it was an exciting launch for one user of the platform. She launched her audiobook on Awesome. So while I've gone on and on about targeted advertising, that's great, but there are lots of other independent audiobook creators who just want to sell to listeners and want to, if the book is $20, they want to get as much of that $20 as possible. Right now, if they go with a competitor, they might get less than half of that. They might even get 25% of the selling price. Whereas with Allsound, they get almost 90%.
Sounds good. I have a few things I might like to flog online.
Absolutely. I mean, it's beautiful if you do have, there's people out there who blog to get a followership, and then they try to convert those followers into paid coaching clients or clients of some other nature. And to be able to say, well, I have a followership, and they appreciate my content, so rather than trying to grow my audience 100x so I can make money in advertising, why not just ask them for a $5 a month subscription or a $2 one-off fee for a special episode or something? That's super easy to do.
So what's the website? Because I need to check this out later.
Awesome, like awesome but sound. So AWESOUND. A lot of people get that wrong, so I'll repeat that. Awesome, it's like awesome, but with sound. So AWESound.com. And who should go there? Really, if you're a listener, there's no thanks for your interest, but there's no need to go there. You don't need to know we exist. It's like you don't particularly need to know who sells the copper to your phone company. You just want your phone to work.
Absolutely.
You don't perception. But if you are somebody who's got a podcast and would like a lot more analytics around who your listeners are, or you'd like to save money on hosting, or you'd like to monetize via advertising or by selling premium content directly to listeners, where the fees on our end are minimal, about 10%, then you should definitely go to Allsound. I won't spell it again. .com. Because
that'd be overkill.
Yeah, no, really, it is something a bit different, and it's great. I'm assuming most of the viewers, I'll just say 12,500 viewers online now. That's good. I assume most of those are probably in Ireland, and so it would be great to get more Irish users on this Irish platform.
Yeah. So
especially because that means customer support would be in my time zone. The next step. So
there you go. It's all calculated stuff. What everyone is actually, what those 12,500 viewers that you're referring to.
It's gone up since I sat down.
It's
11 and a half months.
What they were wanting to know was what job? What was your job when you were driving around listening to all these podcasts?
The main job that I mentioned there was also wearing a suit. I was a management consultant for a company in London called McKinsey. So what that meant was I did projects maybe 2 or 3 months at a time for different companies, and we'd go in and we'd try to give a bit of outside perspective, interview people, get their data, use patterns we might have seen in other companies, look for problems, help them come up with solutions, run workshops, and then kind of leave them to it and hope that they'd be able to implement solutions and either save money or get more revenue.
So it wasn't a taxi driver, just in case.
No. When I said travelling, it was just a lot of
travelling around,
planes, taxis, buses. So I was in a position to sometimes focus on the content.
So what made you get into the IBYE competition?
So It's great to be in front of this banner because I've been working out of Cork, based in Rochestown, which is just South Cork, near the city but south of the county, and been working out of there for about 2 years now. And while there's role models around, in my network in London and through spending time in the States, I just went to 1 or 2 workshops run by local enterprise office South Cork. Initially there was a half-a-day course in marketing. Then I went to another one, which was helping people learn about contracts with public bodies. And it was through there that one of the ladies giving the talk came up to me after and said, "Oh, you look young. Would you consider applying for our entrepreneurship competition?" And it was great. So I think I heard maybe one of my previous guests talk about try again. So I applied last year, and I was selected to do a boot camp, a residential boot camp. I mean, the IBYE competition might now look like it's 10 or 20 or 30 people who get to be in Dublin for a day, but really, like the first round is great because in South Cork in particular, in fact the 3 Leos in Cork collaborate, so it's great. They're on a residential boot camp, so you get training, you get to meet entrepreneurs who are from your locality. They might be in different industries, but they're going through the same kind of questions of should I quit and get a job, or should I raise money, or should I buddy up with my friend, or should I learn to code, or should I hire someone to do it? A lot of startups have similar questions. So once they pointed me in the direction of IBYE, we call it IBYE, that's efficient. The IBYE competition last year.
That's just probably.
No, I think
I'll take it, Greg. That's me.
I think we're
A lot of people trying to rip that out. Take it away from me.
I think we're just more relaxed in Cork. We're trying to spell it out.
It probably is. Yeah.
We don't want to confuse. I like spelling things out clearly. There's a theme here. But yeah, from being involved in the competition last year, just at concept stage, I had a vague notion, and if you listen to my pitch more than 12 months ago, it doesn't fully map to what I've done, because when you go and talk to customers, things change. It obviously evolves. But what it did mean was it allowed me to meet many young Cork entrepreneurs. It gave me a bit of motivation, and then although I didn't succeed in the IBYE, kind of from a funding point of view, I was at least in touch with the local enterprise office anyway. So since then, it's been amazingly helpful through mentorship. I think Richard Barrett, who was in his chair a moment ago, he's from Leo South Cork. I'm from Leo South Cork, and that's where the overall winner was last year. So I understand why they might be disproportionately represented, because they're so supportive. For mentoring, they gave a priming grant constantly. If it's feedback on previous pitches, if it's involving me in other activities. Even next week, I'll be on the other side of the judging table with the student enterprise competition.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Just constantly offering opportunities for me to be involved in the scene. And
there's always something special in the water down in Cork. There always has,
I mean, even the most recent thing that Cork is bragging about is I've joined an accelerator in Cork called Teamwork Catalyst.
Okay.
It's specifically for tech startups at a fairly early stage. There's a website, teamwork.com/catalyst, where you can learn about it, and it's basically subsidised by Teamwork. Teamwork is one of the role models of Cork tech companies. They never took VC funding, but they're hugely profitable, and they're kind of giving back to the community now. They're giving mentorship and office space. So yeah, there's something in the water, and there's, more importantly, nice connectivity. Republic of Work is a co-working space that I was in on Sunday for the Startup Weekend Cork, and the kind of community that DC is building there is, I think it will pay dividends if you fast forward a few years. Cork will want to watch for future IBYE competitions.
We'll just call it. We'll call it Cork's best young entrepreneur, if you will.
Sure.
Lovely meeting you, mate. Best of luck.
Thanks
Best
so
of
much.
luck in the final. Fantastic talking to you. We're down to no viewers now.
IBYEsound.com.
Oh
no! Go on, cheers, Greg.
Here's the most patient man in Dublin. Okay. How you doing, mate?
How's it going?
How's the forum?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Hard act to follow. You never asked him about his stand-up career.
No, I didn't want to go near that. That would have been another 10 minutes.
Yeah, well,
if you'd asked that question.
I'd actually seen that man in action in a bar explaining Awesound. That's AWESOUND.com. and also explaining his stand-up career. So it's well worth getting him back in.
Even got other participants pitching for him. This is pretty impressive
He's
stuff. All
infectious.
right.
You can't get away from him.
So tell us about yourself. What's your name and tell us about the business.
I'm Adrian Fleming from Acuvio. So we provide software to large organisations to help them to reduce their impact on climate change.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Very topical.
I saw the glaze over.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just exhausted having spoken to Mark there earlier on. So that's fascinating. Obviously, climate change is a big deal, and we've got people like Trump. You may need to have a one-to-one session with this lad. But tell us how the business works. Is there a website and
So effectively we do about 95% of our business outside of Ireland. We help companies comply with legislation in places like the UK, Australia, Canada, and even some parts of the US. Trump has actually helped our business,
Great.
strangely enough, because people kind of laugh now when they talk about alternative facts related to climate change, and that has done a lot for actually improving the awareness about it. But effectively, we provide a piece of software to large organisations that they use to gather data in vast quantities from around the world, then bring it all into one place, and then produce reports and analytics to help them understand where are their greenhouse gas emissions coming from, what can they do about it, how can they make changes, and then to measure those results. And it's quite topical because in the last 6 months, let's say, the market has gone from there being 6,000 companies globally impacted by this to now 49,000 companies impacted by this in terms of legislation. And all of those need our solution.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, happy days. And how long has the business been established?
Since 2009.
Okay, wow, okay.
Yeah, so we've been running quite a while. But we didn't really get going, I think, properly until sort of the market responded in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
So we've seen significant growth in the last 2 years especially.
Tell us about your background. How did you come up with? How did the business come about?
Yeah, so I did a degree in computer science in UCD. Then I went into Accenture, and within Accenture, they were quite forward-thinking in terms of their corporate social responsibility program, which was new to me. And I did a few online courses about it to understand it. I found it interesting, and just thought it was fascinating. And then I left there and I went to Dell. And while I was in Dell, like every other Dell employee, I had shares. And one morning I came in and my shares were down 5%, and I was like, what just happened, what happened overnight? So when I kind of Googled, shares plummet, it came up that Dell had reported accidentally they had understated their greenhouse gas emissions and their climate change impact. And the Wall Street Journal got a hold of these numbers and absolutely just slammed it. And as a result, then investors pulled out because there was doubt over the voluntary information that they were sharing with the public. Then it threw doubt over the financial information they were sharing. And that just got me thinking that, this is how climate change is actually impacting business before the floods start, let's say.
Yeah.
And then I asked myself the question, somebody somewhere had to, put this together. How did they put it together? And, what software solution failed that this happened? And I found out that there was no real software solution on the market to help them, and so they had a massive challenge. They were looking to combine data from across the world, across all different sorts of activities, and they were doing all of that in spreadsheets because there was no solution. So that was kind of my light bulb moment, that I put the experience in Accenture and the experience in Dell together to kind of say, right, we need to do something about this to help companies.
How do you take a light bulb moment? Because we've all had light bulb moments. How do you take a light bulb moment into something that actually turns into reality? That's a fairly brave thing to do. So what steps did you take once you had that light bulb moment to make stuff happen?
Well, I think for me, I suppose, I've never really thought about it too much, I suppose, but at the time, I guess I just started, I'm a software engineer, I just started sketching out ideas of how it would work. And I suppose I had a good understanding of various software systems from my time in Accenture and Dell, and I just started kind of pulling all the pieces together, and then I put it to a few people. I actually took a leave of absence and went and spoke to companies who were in the industry and large multinationals both in the UK, the US and in Ireland, and I just said, if I provided this to you, would it help? And they just said, yeah, this would be fantastic. So at that point then I said, right, may as well give this a shot. So about 6 months later then, left Dell, I joined the Limerick Enterprise Acceleration Platform, the LEAP program, which is
Okay,
like a predecessor to the Enterprise Start. And just the mentorship that I got there was fantastic. They taught me about things like sales, marketing, business analysis, completely alien to me, right? At the time, completely knew nothing about it. And from there, kind of grew it. Just started to talk to investors, started talking to businesses, and it just spiraled out of control, really. Yeah, before I knew it was kind of 3 years in and spending a lot of time in London.
That's a good spiral out of control. If you're ever going to spiral out of control, that's how you spiral out of control.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what's the way? There's a website for the business?
Yeah, so it's accuvio.com, so it's accuvio.com.
What's more to it?
AWESOUND.com. Thanks, Mark. No, it's accuvio.com. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what's the vision for the company now over the next coming years?
Well, I suppose right now we're very much focused on transitioning the company from being a research and development and a product-focused company into a sales, marketing, commercialization mode. I suppose we're really lucky in the sense that the market, in terms of the number of companies impacted, has just grown exponentially in the last 6 months because of the new legislation in Canada and the EU. And we're just trying to capitalise on that. And we're building out a sales team, we're just serving those clients, we're looking after our existing clients who have been fantastic in terms of helping us to continue to develop the product. So it's just more of the same, but at an accelerated rate.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then the IBYE experience. How did you enter the IBYE competition, and how did that come about?
Yeah. So Eamon Ryan in the Limerick Enterprise office gave me a call one day and just said, have you heard of this? And it was really timely because I was actually sitting down, challenging myself on a business plan to try and look into 2017. What's that going to look like? I was trying to put a plan around it, and we were looking at. We've got all of this demand coming at us. We may need to look at getting additional funding to be able to supply all of these companies and to scale. So I was looking at this anyway, and when he came along, I said, this is not a bad idea. I'll get some external validation, get back into the early, startup mindset, get a few ideas, start looking at things like that. So yeah, that's what I did. I entered basically to see, how would the business plan stack up to 5 or 10 people criticizing it. And, so somehow I ended up here.
Yeah, for the final pitch. Have you done your pitch today?
No, I'm not on until 4:45. Yeah.
We should have hurried our last speaker up, otherwise you'd miss it altogether, We needed a gag to get him off the...
He's still there.
I know.
He wants to come back.
I'm concerned. I'm genuinely worried.
I've seen him in action. When there's no camera, and it's even funnier.
So what's the highlight of the IBYE competition been so far?
Not meeting that crack.
That's the second best thing. Yeah.
No. I think really, from our perspective, just challenging ourselves, challenging the business plan, and really looking hard at how we can find the best way to grow our businesses. But also, for me, because we've been growing since 2009, to get back into that startup mindset, even having a few beers with the guys around here after the last few events, has been really refreshing. And I'd like to think that they gained something from talking to me about my experiences, because we've all made mistakes, but it's about how you can turn those mistakes into successes. And I suppose my experience with being with the guys who are in startup mode is that I'm challenging the way I'm thinking again, which is great.
Brilliant, yeah. I always find beer very refreshing as well. So.
It works.
I
Again, not refer to
Richard, that's the highlight. It's the beer. But no, and you're absolutely right. Just to be around like-minded people and to stay lean, stay challenged, and stay agile is a fantastic thing. If I was an entrepreneur now, maybe not as established as you guys, or maybe I am, what business tip would you give someone that's, I suppose, that's trying to bring their business to the next level, maybe youngish on their journey?
I think a few people have mentioned it already. Try and hire people that are smarter than you and better than you. That's a key one. I suppose in addition to that, it's funding at the right time. I think is important as well. I think that maybe sometimes people focus on the funding too early on.
Yeah.
And maybe if they can bootstrap it a little bit, like we bootstrapped it for 2 years, but at the time we were actually seeking funding. But in hindsight, bootstrapping it at the time was the right thing to do. So we were quite lucky in that regard. So I suppose looking for the funding at the right times with the right people around you, and to take on board that advice that you get from people, actually truly listen to it, as opposed to maybe in one ear out the other.
Yeah. No, I think it's very easy. It's very easy to make a decision that's a brilliant decision in our own heads and just not listen to that.
Yeah.
The nuggets of advice that are being offered up to us.
Yeah. And I mean, one person giving this the best bit of advice I ever actually got was when we were bootstrapping it. Was a guy who said to me, you're targeting companies outside of Ireland. So who have you spoken to? And I mentioned 3 or 4 names. He said, well, you got to get over there a bit more. And I was like, no, we're bootstrapping this. We don't have the funding to actually get to that country to talk to these guys. And he was just like, it doesn't matter how you get there. Figure a way out to get there, and get there soon, or else there won't be a business there. And I think that was probably the best bit of advice that made me really determined to actually get on a plane and actually go and see more customers, more potential partners faster and quicker.
Absolutely. There's nothing will build a relationship faster than meeting someone in the flesh. There's no doubt about it. And you mentioned obviously there was the Limerick local enterprise office has been instrumental in obviously this competition, but also the journey to date.
Yeah, they're brilliant. They're always at the end of the phone if you ever want to bounce ideas off them or if you need support in a certain area. I suppose they were a great transition point for us because, in the early days when we were bootstrapping, there were grants and funding there to help us along until we actually did our round of investment. So we raised about €600,000 with 2 Irish VCs and Enterprise Ireland, but we didn't do that until 2012. So between 2009 and 2012, the enterprise office they were brilliant. Yeah.
It just amazes me how so often we just don't reach out to them when they're there. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen by actually reaching out to your local enterprise office?
Good question. Don't know.
Probably nothing. It depends which one. Maybe the South
probably
Cork
say
one
no,
you
yeah.
could bump into Mark in the hallway. I don't know what could go wrong. But ultimately,
just step away from
we should reach out more. Best of luck with your pitch, and best of luck in the final on Sunday. It's been a pleasure talking to you,
Thanks very
mate.
much.
Take care.
Thanks.
See you.
All the best.
It's crazy stuff because I'm sitting here talking, I'm having a great time, and every time I look up, there's a new person, there's someone else, and another person that's gone for Mark's styling has put on a tie. How you doing, mate? How are you?
Not too bad yourself.
How's the form?
I can't
You're
complain.
looking very slick.
Trying my best now, impressing the judges.
Have you done your pitch?
I've just finished, yeah, so
Oh, wow.
I'm in the clear until Sunday.
Woohoo! Good stuff. So the pitch went well?
Went well, I was happy enough with it. The judges were good. Give me a bit of a grilling, but that's to be expected, I suppose.
I think that's a compliment. I think if a judge at a pitch gives you a bit of a grilling, it's showing that they're interested.
Exactly.
I suppose when they don't try hard to get something out of you, it's very often an indication that they're not interested.
Yeah.
So we'll take that as a real positive. For the guys that are watching, tell us your name and your business.
So I'm Brian O'Rourke, I suppose. I'm from Longford, so the local enterprise office in Longford has been helping me out. I'm from a company called City Swifter,
Okay.
so I'm one of 3 co-founders. What we do is we make shared transport more efficient. So we try to match supply and demand in the bus industry a lot better than currently happens. So it's trying to improve the key metrics for the Irish transport operators and trying to give the passengers a better user experience.
Cool. And how are you doing that? Like, how does one go about doing that?
So we have a technology platform. So we're not a transport company, we're a technology company. And what we do is we give technology both to the transport providers and to the passengers. So through our website currently and our mobile app, and the driver also has an app as well. So it's kind of digitalising an industry that was traditionally a lot of cash and paper and Excel spreadsheets. And you'd be surprised at the amount of that that's still going on. So we're doing our best, I suppose, to try and optimise all elements of it, and we're just starting to get good traction currently.
And are you're fully launched and up and running, or you pre-startup at the moment?
We're launched, I suppose, and we're kind of pilots and moved from pilots to actual continuous recurring revenue and growing at a kind of a steady rate currently.
Cool.
But I suppose what this competition has been very good for, from the county level to the regionals and the boot camps and everything in between, is to kind of start thinking, how are we going to scale this up? How are we going to expand? What's next? Because with the Irish market with transport, it's quite small. So we've been over to the UK recently, and we've big plans over there, and trying to work with partners and passengers as well. So it's been good. It's what they say: don't run before you can walk. But this competition has kind of taught us to think big and concentrate on the big picture.
I think if you're not thinking big, you'll get what you're settled for. So makes sense. And how did the business idea come about? How did that? What was the eureka moment?
Yeah, so I graduated from a business degree in Dublin City University, and I was working in one of the big banks at the IFSC, so in financial services. Thought that was going to be me, and I was going to go around corporate career path. So as I was living out in Santry, rented accommodation, struggling with how was I going to get in and out to work. It was taking an hour and 15 minutes to travel 6 or 7 miles. It was quicker to run or cycle than it was to get public transport, and I went, surely there has to be a better way. This was about 2 years ago. Halo and Uber were just starting to become massive as well, so it was like, there has to be something we can do with this. I was lucky as well that there's 3 co-founders in it. We're all friends from school. One of the guys comes, he's second generation family business in the bus industry, so his family's been 35 years in the industry. He knew how it works inside out. He had lots of contacts with bus operators here in Ireland and in the UK. And then I had another friend from school that I pulled in, told him to quit his job with a corporate, and he's a coder, so he was a self-taught. He was coding since he was 13, 14. 3 of us put our heads together and built a startup. So suppose from the back of the garage, kind of the setup, originally bootstrapped the whole way, and got to where we are now.
Sound like Steve Jobs, you do, to be honest with you.
I don't know
Like,
about that.
that's what you sounded like, but that's pretty cool. So it's a nice moment. It's amazing. Most people we've spoken to today are either their business is built around a genuine interest or passion, or a problem that they've encountered and actually bothered to try to solve. And I think that's typically where a lot of the great business ideas come from.
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, being out in the real world and seeing a real problem and trying to solve it. And I suppose what was good for us as well is, like, we thought there was a certain problem, but it's when you actually go out and talk to customers, when you start running pilots, when you have paying users, and you're talking to them and you're asking them what they want next and what piece of software, and if they could have it this way or that way. And it's learning from the real world and learning from people, and that's the only way, I think, to build a startup.
Cool. And I take it you have a functional website there. What is the website?
The name of the company is City Swifter, so it's cityswifter.com. You can follow us on social media as well, so we keep them fairly updated.
So cityswifter.com. And then you mentioned apps.
We have a driver app currently, so our drivers can download the app from the App Store, the partner drivers, and then the passenger apps are on their way, so they're currently under development.
And what does the driver app do exactly?
The driver app, I suppose, we learned when we ran multiple pilots, and one of the issues we had when we did them was we actually had to print off Google Maps passenger lists with paper, and we're doing it the old way, and we did it all like that, but we learned we had to automate that to scale up. So what the driver app, he gets his, like Google Maps, he has navigation, he tells him which bus stops to go, where to stop, what times to leave, and he has his passenger list as well, so he knows which passengers are getting on. So we're tracking our inventory in real time, so we're seeing how many spare seats we have. So it's kind of an on-demand transport. But the driver's app also, it gives the location of where the bus actually is to the passengers. So they're able to see, like the Halo and Uber apps, where the bus is if they're waiting at a stop, whether to eat that piece of toast, drink that bit of coffee, and then leave the house at the optimal time.
I like it. And then, since you've started the business, what's been the greatest business lesson that you've learned today? Those are difficult questions to answer.
I suppose with us, it was the lessons that I've learned is it was building, I suppose, a technology company, and it's building it in the stages and doing the pilots. And we thought that we had the perfect product and it was scalable and we could go and we could launch and we could scale up instantly. But we realised that there was key pieces missing, and it was impossible. There was too much kind of human interaction. One of us had to be sitting on the buses, directing the drivers, and I suppose it's just kind of building the stages and to get actual customers and user feedback as much as possible on the journey.
Cool. Talking of the journey, how did you get into the IBYE journey, the Ireland's Best Young Entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I suppose our local enterprise office in Longford have been a great help throughout the process, from the initial idea when we went into them to trying to kind of start to scaling up, and each part of the way they've been a great help, whether it be advice, connections. And in Longford, I think we're such a local community, it's kind of very clannish, and even the Spora who's living up in Dublin, they're all out to help each other. But it was the local enterprise office in Longford said, look, there's this competition, you're 3 young lads doing your best and doing well, so apply. And they were hopeful, I suppose, that we could go and kind of get through the county, through the regional, and hopefully possibly get a national title for Longford. So that was where they kind of encouraged us to go for it, and I suppose we put a lot of effort into it, and we did our best. But it was good as well. The boot camp, like I was surprised, but there was 20 something young entrepreneurs from Longford, all with very good, good business ideas, or they're actually good businesses, and they got to that next stage. And some of them I knew, some of them I had no idea existed. And it was the fact that we could actually go in and network with all these, learn from each other, and still keep in contact and have that bouncing board off to go back to throughout, I suppose, the business years as we go. And like little towns like Longford, that's what you kind of need. You need to kind of work together and try and make the place better.
Big time, big time. So obviously the local enterprise office, you've had many dealings with since you've set up.
I'd say that, every 2-3 months we'd go in, visit them, keep them updated with how we're getting on, progressing, and then see kind of what help and support they can give us, either introducing us to Enterprise Ireland, to connections, to events they're having. But they've been a great help, and I think, I suppose I'm a little bit biased, but I would say they're one of the best in the country at what they do.
Should be biased.
They're very hard working.
Yeah, no, very good. Very good. Mate, best of luck on Sunday. Simple as that. You can totally relax. Pitch over, shot online over. You can have a sleep till Sunday.
I'm looking forward to it.
Take care. See you. So finally, we have run out of people to speak to, and all I can say is what an incredible bunch of entrepreneurs, with the great final and the winner being announced in Google headquarters on Sunday. So, hey, I don't usually work on a Sunday. I won't be working this Sunday, but I'm going to be at Google HQ to find out who the grand winner is going to be. The one thing, talking to the guys, that I've really noticed today is their passion and their enthusiasm. Their ability not to be afraid of failure. Incredible number of entrants this year have entered before and either not even made it to regional level and maybe gone to the initial boot camp, but have come back fighting and are now vying for the title of Ireland's best young entrepreneur. The other thing that's very noticeable, and it's the same every year, is the guys that are in the competition are getting support from each other. And it's the networking and the connections that they're making on this journey is making the difference, a difference in their business, quite frankly. So if you are an entrepreneur, you don't even have to be a young entrepreneur. One thing that I will say to you is start networking, connecting and talking with like-minded people, and keep yourself honest. And from me, Greg Fry, it's goodbye from now. As soon as I can figure out how to turn YouTube off, I'll be finished. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys online on Sunday. Take care.